Just your real name.
Dana Shifsky.
And what do you do for business, for work?
Occupational therapy.
So the question you had was about a dad, and what is his name?
Charles.
And how did he pass? When did he pass?
He passed about 6 months ago from heart attack.
Great. So I'm just gonna bring him up. Super funny guy. But all the energy around his body. He's right here. He's so excited about being here. He's been here for um, probably 2 days, just waiting on you. I uh, my husband and I came home. Sometimes, if I'm doing a reading, if somebody comes in and is waiting, they'll do something to give us their attention. He locked us out of our house. So we come in, we put all our stuff down, and then he comes and locks the door. And Damon and I are both like, who locks the door? What's going on? I said, I don't know. Somebody's waiting for somebody. So he said he locked the door to just to show me that he's here. Not that we didn't, I wouldn't have known that anyway, but he is like that. The energy around his passing was very chaotic. Some people have a knowing or an easiness, before they cross. He didn't. The energy. He was totally.
Right.
He was totally surprised. Did you know that?
I figured. But we don't really know really. Yeah, that all happened really fast.
And where was he when it happened?
He was at his house.
The Sitting Bull is my main guide, which is that guy on that wall right there. And he's my main filter, so your guys bring it to him and he gets it to me. But he said he was totally surprised. And so his crossing was kind of chaotic, almost like saying, this isn't true. I'm not leaving. I'm not going. So he did have a little bit of a lapse in transition.
What does that mean?
Then he stayed around and watched what was going on. He looked around and saw what was going on.
Was he with me or my sister at any of those times?
He's always been around you. He's always been around both of you, always. So yeah, he's totally. He hasn't. He's not going to reincarnate for a while.
Where is he now? Like, has he been around us still, or was it just around that time?
No, he's still around. 6 months is a very short period of time in our years, our months. It's very, very short. So he hasn't transitioned yet. He hasn't crossed over yet.
We have some. I feel a presence.
Yeah.
And we both had some just different things happening. So.
Yeah, he's really good at moving things.
Like what? I haven't noticed that.
Just like changing my door.
But nothing like.
That's amazing for somebody to be able to physically do that hasn't been dead for a long time. The longer people are dead, the more they can do. The more they learn how to move energy and how to make things happen. So he really likes to get attention. And he has a smell about him.
Like what?
Anytime I smell him, it's almost like either, and that's what I smelled in there, either like a yeast smell, like a like an old timey yeast roll. It is a lot of what I smell whenever he comes around is food. Yeah, and it's the yeast roll is what I smell first when I get him. But he has a. He said he will answer any of your questions. He's super. Loving to you guys and kind. and sorry and sad
What's he sorry for?
that he didn't want to leave. You know, he didn't want to leave. There's almost that part of him who says it felt like he wasn't a good dad.
What? It was. I just don't know what to ask because there's something specific that he's saying.
You can ask anything you want.
Because we weren't very close at the end. And
Yeah, he's not. He's drawn. He was withdrawn. He was withdrawn. You know, almost like he wanted to be alone.
yeah.
You know, that was all the energy that I see around him as someone who truly just wanted to be alone.
Why didn't he try harder to? I'm just trying to think of how I can ask these questions. Why didn't he try harder to see us, or to be around us?
You know, he was very. How do you say that? One, he's very sorry. To see the women that you are amazes him from the site where he is now. Never feeling like he was good enough was huge in his field. From the time he was a small child, you know, the energy around his beginning time was not a lot of clarity and not a lot of, almost like he was orphaned, you know, not a lot of energy around his body as far as being nurtured as he grew. So there was this part of him that went through like an arrogant stage and then went through a stage of I'm not good enough. And so he will he loves you very much, and he's regretful of not being present, and life was too short. And so he will watch and be around you guys until you don't want him. He's not going anywhere. It's like when you die, you have a corridor that comes forward, the white light. You've heard that story. And then your guides come and say, okay, basically you see your life pass before you. It's like a movie house. You see a movie of your life. At the end of that movie, someone says, hey, how'd you like the movie? And he said, I didn't like it one bit.
Did he say anything about has he been trying to send us signs?
You know, he's been in your fields since he died. You know, since he died. You know, he's been around you. So he has not left. He's not left. Did his wife have a miscarriage?
He wasn't married.
Because there's a baby around him.
I lost a baby. That's another one I wanted to see.
Yeah, a boy. Yeah, that's who's around him right now. So, you know, they're together and they're both like super passionate about loving you and wanting to be around you. The boy, the boy, they're together. The baby was who met him when he died. The little one met him when he died. And so when there are some babies who life is like a school, and we come here to learn, and a lot of times all we have to do is be conceived, and they don't want to do a complete life cycle. And so that was this boy. You know, he didn't need to do a life cycle and has been with you many lifetimes. So it was like, you know.
Why did he have to leave? Why did he have to leave? Did the baby say why he had to leave?
He didn't have to be here this lifetime, and he didn't want to be here this lifetime, but he wanted to be conceived. He wanted That was the end process. You've had many lifetimes, sweetheart, where you couldn't have children. Many lifetimes where you didn't have children. He's been with you a lot of lifetimes when you did. And so to be able to come back and say, I want one more time, to be able to come in and create that love vibration with you was what he needed to do. He had no karmic
It was a
connection.
lot of love, yeah.
He had no karmic connection to the dad. It was mainly in your line. And you know that's
So
what
it,
happens.
they're, so the baby met my dad. Can you see my baby? Or do you see the baby healthy or anything about the baby that you can?
You know, the energy around him is totally healthy now. But when he crossed, there was something that was wrong with his heart. And so his body, and that was that needed to be healed when he came in this lifetime. How old was he when you lost him?
20 weeks.
Yeah, about 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
What about like dad's like passing?
I had a baby die at 6 months, and his name was Corey Sean, and my daughter now was 4. So when I went to the hospital and came back without the baby, she was like, you know, and you're like, oh, the baby's with God. And she's like, yeah, but when's he coming?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, when's he
It
bringing?
sucks.
Where's Corey
Yeah.
Sean? And when's he bringing him home? What the hell's the deal?
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh my God. It was super, super hard to explain to little ones. But this little one is complete and healthy and super fine, sweetheart, super fine.
So it's not mad at me
No, you made the completion happen.
it's very,
You're-
very
you-
hard.
Your love vibration for this child was what made it happen. And so now he can have a complete life when he comes back in.
He knows how and why he passed.
Yes. Yeah. He didn't ever intend to go full term. You know, he never intended to go full term. You know, he came in to be conceived with your love vibration and not your husband's.
Why?
He's not connected to him. He's not connected to him. You know, a lot of times we come in and we're connected to either a matriarchal line or a patriarchal line, or we're connected to a part of the world. Like I want to come in as, you know, you get to pick that when you come in this body, into someone's body. You pick when you want to be born, what you want to experience, what you want to look like, if you want to be male or female, rich or poor, all those things that you want to experience in life
Mm-hmm.
that make your completion happen is what you get to do. And so his was, I want to come back to my mom that I've been with before, and it has to be in that love vibration, and then I'm done. So there was not even any, there's no sadness, but love and completion.
And I think what else I can. Is my dad seeing anything else, or do I have to just ask questions?
I want to know more about like
Was like around he died. It was very chaotic. My dad, our dad. I don't know how to ask it.
everything that we went through.
Like we went through a lot when he died, and
Or like the questions that are still so unanswered.
like we didn't find all his belongings. There's pictures that are missing, like family pictures.
From his house.
We don't know. We don't know if he had them still or what happened to them. We thought they were at his house, but they weren't. Nothing was there.
And how long have you been in this house?
like a year with that one.
And where did he come from before then?
He was moving around a lot.
Yeah. What did he do for work?
He used to be a machinist, and then he hadn't worked for a few years.
Just when I scan his field, he was alone. It's like there's no energy that I see around him where there was a tether or a connection. So I would say it wasn't in the house. It wasn't where he was. You know, I don't see anything that was taken by somebody or not there. I don't think it was ever there. I don't think it was ever there. There are parts of him when I just scan him. You know, there are parts of him that were so. You know, he was definitely in a state of not being present, and not just to you, not just to you.
When he died, he wasn't present.
Just in his life. You know, there was something about relationships that he couldn't hold on to. Something about a love vibration that he couldn't hold on to. He didn't know how to nurture. He didn't know how to care. He didn't know how to be in anything that he couldn't make anything grow.
But he know.
What about like the viewing?
Yeah, like was he around us when he died?
Like the viewing.
Like when we saw his physical body after he died. Can you tell us anything about that?
You know, he's never been. He's come in and out. His body moves in and out in what we call the altered state. So he's seen his guides and angels. He's not alone. He's seen his guides and angels, and they're holding him really close and really tight, but he's still tethered here to earth.
Does it matter that he didn't believe in God? He didn't believe in like anything.
So, yeah, he didn't have much of a relationship with anything. Yeah.
But they're still looking after him.
That doesn't matter people's thoughts. You know, when they leave, they're all tended and cared for and loved. You know, he definitely is. You know, but he's definitely reliving a lot of his life and having to look at it. He's not complete.
What about like the head thing?
Yeah, his head was like he had just weird stuff on him kind of when he died.
The bruises.
Yeah. But what was that from?
You know, there's they said he died just of a heart attack.
No, it was other stuff.
Yeah, because there's other stuff. The guys are saying there's other stuff he died from.
I was just gonna see if you could say anything like, you know, give us some of that information too. Because yeah, there was other stuff.
Yeah, there's other stuff around his field, you know, that created a imbalance in his body. I mean, he did have an imbalance anyway. He wasn't. I'm not saying that he was nuts, but he was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And would go in and out of what's reality and what's not reality. And when he did that, that's when he didn't want to be around anybody or he didn't want to be with you guys. It was because he wasn't balanced enough or felt like he was right enough to be with you. But he felt like he was in a lot of trauma when he died. You know, whether he was fighting ghosts or beings or, you know, it wasn't good in the way in which he passed.
He had issues with like drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Did he, why couldn't he overcome that?
He had a lot of demons around him. You know, he had a lot of demons around him. There are demons, you know, I mean, there are energies or entities or ghosts or whatever you want to call it that get attached to people, especially when they are on drugs, that can't let them go because they feed off of that. And that feels like what had happened to him.
We didn't see him for a long time, and we wanted to see him. We want him to know that we wanted him. You know, we always were thinking about him. It was just scary. I don't know if he knows that how much we did, you know, and still do love him.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely knows that. He definitely knows that you love him and wanted to be with him, but he never felt right or good enough to be with you. You know, I mean, he's dealt with trauma. Sitting Bull says most of his life. You know, a lot of his life has been trauma in some form or another.
Was there anything specific that he's
He
saying?
was abused as a child.
By
Sitting Bull says, either by a dad, another man, either a dad or an uncle.
oh, does he say what kind of abuse?
All kinds. He was sexually abused.
That's a lot.
He was emotionally abused, and he was physically abused.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
So I talked to him like a week before he died, actually like exactly a week, and I had told him that she was pregnant at the time and was kind of catching him up on things. Do you think that like helped him like greet Noah then?
Helped him what?
Like greet Noah
The
for
baby.
the miscarriage?
You know,
Is that how he knew, or is that like would he have already done that?
The baby found him.
the baby found him.
How did the baby find him?
Yeah. You know,
Just don't.
they're around you. They're around, you know, who knows when they go to that next phase or that next phase or that next phase. There are many, many layers of consciousness. And so, you know, the baby was around you and found him. And that's when he went, oh, there is a God.
Did you want to ask about the song?
Yeah, there's a song that I've been listening to. Does he know? I mean, there's lots of songs that we've both been listening to, but there's a song I really wanted him to hear. I thought he would really like, and it reminds me of him. Is he saying?
He hasn't said anything around that. What is the song?
It's it's called Slow Jam. It's like a rock kind of blues song.
But he likes blues.
With a lot of guitar.
Yeah. I really know that your son has helped him. You know, when people die, they look different. My mom just died, and then my dad died 6 weeks later, about 6 months ago. I know, it was so horrible. But when my mom died, she went to my daughter that next morning when she was doing her meditation, and my daughter always meditates on a beach, and so she looked down, and my mom took her hand, and she saw my mom's skirt and her blouse, and she said some things to her, and she was like in her 40s. My mom was in her 80s when she died. Every time I see her, she's in her 40s. So when we see somebody, they get to pick that age that they are, that is their most, that they resonated with the most. So anybody I talk to, any psychics or anybody I talk to, they're like, wow, your mom's really beautiful. Was she like 40? And I'm like, no, but she really thought she looked good then. And so that's what she's going to show you. But your dad, you know, the energy around his body is around 30s, in his 30s. And your boy is around, I would say, 5.
Do you see them walking together, or
He's your son's is curly headed, really uh, totally a boy, kind of muscular,
Mhm.
super cute, super beautiful. Um, and your dad is, I mean, they hang. I mean, I don't think your son's going anywhere until your dad gets healed or is complete. I think that was part of his journey. I think he had an agreement, not only your agreement, that he would be complete when he was here for X amount of time. But then when he went out of body, it was like, and I'm going to wait on
so
them.
the timing maybe has something to do with it? 'Cause
Definitely.
they died so close.
Is there any like correlation with like? Is there any reason why like our dad passed on the day that he did? Is there any like significance to that day at all that like he can?
He loves to do things on specific days, like birth dates, anniversaries, because they never were really celebrated, especially when he was small and coming up. What day did he die?
July 16th.
And what day was that to him?
It was our grandpa. Our grandpa had died
Sweet.
10 years to the date
Sweet.
before.
Sweet. A lot of times in lineages, you have 3 times when you can die. You have scheduled 3 deaths when you come into this lifetime. That's what the Cherokees say. We have 3 different times. And you get to pick at the last minute if you're going to go then or not. I was thrown out of a Jeep when I was 13. I lived on a ranch. And the scar on my face that's from here to here goes to right there. I was thrown out and landed on a barbed wire fence. It's exactly when I was 13 in another lifetime when I died. And so my grandmother and the elders say I had a split second to go exactly at that date when I died in that other lifetime, or change my mind and turn my head where it didn't hit my vein. So we have those times. Your dad almost left many times. This is not the first time he almost died.
Does he say what the other times, what they were from?
Drugs. Definitely drugs. He was almost shot once. He's been in a lot of really, what would you say, uneasy situations. And so he really did live this life on an edge, on the edge. And then he was so far on the edge he couldn't give up. And the drugs helped him figure out where that edge was. But then he always did too much. He always did too much.
Are you showing what he looks like?
There's another man around his body, and it could be the grandpa that is, I would say, in his 60s, and he's kind of tall, just super present, but not close.
What does that mean?
I don't think he's come to that healing with his dad or his grandpa. And so he's holding him, but he's not allowing. He didn't allow very many people close, your dad. And he's still doing that. He's still not allowing a lot of people really close to him.
Could that be because it was
It was
our
our grandpa, our mom's dad,
and not
who
his?
died.
Yeah, he's not that. He's not that picky where he is right now. But he's not leaving him either. But the only one he's leaving close to him is your son. Is Noah.
So the other, because that's who we were kind of. Can you see what our dad looks like at 30 something?
He is not thin. a little bit more muscular looking, kind of good looking. Um,
Are there any kind of features that stick out? Or
not really. Not really. Nothing that I see around his bead that is so distorted. I don't see any distortions. I think he is good looking.
did he have any?
Could he see like everything that we saw and like everything that we went through when he passed? Like that
He's
we're
not, anytime someone's out of body like that and in a transition phase where they are right now, there is a lot of emotion. There is a lot of emotion. And there is, you can definitely see that his guides and angels have held him back. That there is that part of him that knows it is that love-hate thing about the anger of why and the love vibration of you are my dad, no matter what happened. He definitely feels that, but he's not in a good state. How
Still?
would I say that? I'm not sure how long it's going to take. He's got a lot of mending to do before he can move forward. He's got a lot of mending to do. There were a lot of people, not only you guys, in this lifetime that he didn't treat well.
Does he see any other people?
Your mom, definitely. But I'm not, if another woman and another man, and he did abuse someone in this lifetime.
Like physically?
Yeah, Sitting Bull's not showing me who that is, but he said he was an abuser.
Like hitting or?
Well, he just says that
Does he say?
there's some things that he's not going to allow us to see.
it's a
But
good thing.
but he is saying that he did. I would say maybe emotionally we know yes, but I would also say physically and probably sexually too.
How can you see it if he doesn't want you to see it?
Because Sitting Bull's telling me.
Okay, I'm just wondering.
There's things that I don't want to see his
Sure.
stuff, and so Sitting Bull will stop that because he's my filter. So he'll tell me, but he won't show me. And there's things we can't overstep.
Sure.
For sure.
So our grandpa's
Overseeing.
He was kind of like our dad too. So.
He's kind of overseeing him, kind of wanting to have his back, but not want to get him too involved, but almost like making sure he's okay. And because of you guys, not because of any other reason.
We're really close with our grandma, who is still here. They were very close. She was very close with my grandpa, so it's been hard for her, even though it's been this long.
Was he alone when he passed?
Our dad,
Yeah.
his dad.
There was someone around him. I'm not sure who that was. Did they call 911 or did they call?
We don't know what happened. It was weird. They looked up. It was like they let him
Yeah,
sit for a while.
he called.
We don't know how long. There was people in the house that we didn't know.
Yeah, it was definitely something gone really wrong that happened.
Was it him though? Like, did he pass like due to like his own like either body or something that he did to himself, or did it have anything to do with like foul play with someone in the house?
There was foul play.
I wonder if that's why I feel like I didn't feel his presence when we did like the viewing of the body.
You know, when you did the viewing of the body, there was probably the energy of him trying to figure out what the fuck just happened. Because that's what sitting with us keeps saying.
He said what?
That
What
he
was
was
saying?
just saying, what the fuck just
That
happened?
sounds like you.
Do people swear like
Yes.
a lot, or do there is that
My filter,
or?
I swear a lot.
I'm just wondering because that's something that our dad would say.
I swear a lot, but he's just telling me what he said. Of what the fuck just happened. You know, so he was shocked. You know, there was an energy of shock around him, and it feels like there was power over him. Like something happened to him that created